There's coffee.
There are packets of coffee?
Yes, there's no back.
Yeah.
Back in our supplies.
Are you the coffee maker?
Hey, Don. You were a young firefighter and you had to buy coffee filters and didn't realize your inventory. You didn't have coffee either. And your full inventory
What's
before
the
you.
punishment? Pull 100 feet of hose, 12 miles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just hang on to that.
All right.
I was gonna give it to.
Okay.
Beautiful sunsets.
Where is everybody just working?
I don't know, there's Tracy.
I used to drop off the last of the discussion.
How long you live there?
Chris is up there down the.
Oh, so this area hasn't changed at all.
He's got one.
I lived here 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One of the boxes, Sure.
Yes, that's right.
High school, I'm gonna be around that weekend, but right now,
Oh, and she's, I think she's on vacation.
she's got me tagged to go. My brother's got cancer, and so I need to see him as much as I can.
Am I in charge of
Starting
the
in
party?
Solomon Tree, if you don't mind. But I'm really glad to see that you are. But they are. That's gonna happen. So let me, can I get that on now?
32, yeah.
What the heck, nothing for you. I'll, when Kevin and I did the whole, shtick that one time, we planned it in 15 minutes before we started.
Good morning.
Sometimes those are the best.
A little bit of ad-libbing going on.
By the way,
He said they came.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh.
No.
No. We haven't done that. Oh, it's just a farm. Yeah. Well, we bought that. We got rid of all of ours.
He has it on
And I,
his
and
sheet.
I, we always
He'll
feel
be on
like
his track sheet.
we don't have.
Because I don't think he has.
We did a barbecue, so I said,
For some reason, I think he needs to pay for this half year,
it's been used once.
All right, let's get this show on the road. I am your guest host today. Mr. Chris is traveling to Monroe or someplace to that effect for an inspection. So anyhow, let's start with our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Ron, do you want to help us with?
All right, let's say the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Fifth.
Is it fun?
6, 7, 8, 9.
Yes, Tim. Okay, well, we got a small crowd today. We got 2 online, it looks like. Hello, everybody. And let's get going. So I got an agenda. That's a good start. So we'll start with, looks like Gary. Do you have a inspirational thought?
I have a couple, but I'll read the longest one.
Okay.
We've got plenty of time this morning. We got a half an hour at least, right? No one is you, and that's your superpower. Just by being yourself, you make so many people's lives better. People need what you have to offer. Your smile, a listening ear, kind word, your attention. Never forget what you bring to this world.
That's kind of cool. All right. Well, do we have any guests today?
Debbie.
Debbie. Oh, hey. A welcome guest. Cool. All right. Well, then we got a guest. Looks like there's maybe a couple more coming here, but maybe they're just walking by. We do have birthdays. James Monroe. His birthday is this month, actually this week coming up. We don't have any wedding anniversaries, but we do have a Rotary anniversary. Lori.
Oh.
So congratulations. August 30, 2015. 7 years. That's nice. Cool.
That was at Dad's 90th birthday party. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's putting it in perspective.
Well, to celebrate my 97th birthday. Wow. I've got a birthday check for Rotary for $3,000.
Whoa.
You know, it all started at the Everett Rotary Club. In those days, when you were on your birthday, you were expected to give $1 for every year of your birth. Well, when I joined the Lake Stevens Club, I continued doing that myself until '07. I decided, well, that's not very much money, so I upped it to $1,000. So I'm happy.
$1,000 for every year?
Misunderstand. But anyhow, life has been good to me. So I'm happy to share financially with Lord.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lauren.
That's pretty cool.
Nothing to do with the Tesla news, this check.
Yeah.
Nothing to do about Teslas. Well,
Other than the stock split.
yeah, there was a stock split, and the Tesla stock is up today, so that's good. In fact, the whole market is up today.
Yeah, and it barely came around yesterday, it looks like, too. It started bad yesterday, but seemed to get better, unless my phone was wrong. All right.
I have a good Tesla story for the next.
About it driving you home, or
Oh.
hopefully.
Well, I gotta drive out to Lori's house.
Oh,
Okay. And you, if you've been out there, why, you know, it's a lot of curvy roads.
with a lot of trees to block internet access.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're not in there, are they? Okay, well, Jack, let's do a treasury report, the treasurer's report.
Everything is copacetic, I guess. I can't think of anything that's out of order, other than if anybody needs to pay more money, pay more money.
Never hurts. Well, Lauren kind of is helping with that this week, isn't he? If we could have a week like that every once in a while, that helps quite a bit. Gary?
All right, next Rotary Board meeting, Thursday, September 15th. We had 2 golf teams that went up to District 50/50 conference. My putt at the end for the putting contest was just a little bit short. I lost out to Larry Juby, but that's the closest putt I've ever had in my life. Kyle couldn't come at the last minute, but Kendra wanted to come, but by the time she got home, her husband says, "I'll go." So Chad joined us, and then we had Chris's nephew, Lewis, join us, 16. So we had 2 groups. Did we do anything great? Not particularly. Some of us used a lot of string to get to the closest, to get into the pin. They didn't. They said you didn't use any string.
Nobody, yeah, we didn't read any instructions.
So this is the first time, usually you have 2 teams, 2 groups to every hole. We did not. There were 66 players, and everyone was placed on 1 hole. So it went relatively quickly this year. So it was a good tournament. It was a lot of fun. Greens weren't all that great, but it was okay. Food was good. I sent out a club email about Troop 88 Textile Drive. Basically what they're looking for is any item that is resellable. It's an agreement that they have with Value Village. My suggestion was, if we want to help the troop out, if you have something, bring it here next Friday at 8, and they'll come by around 8:30 and pick up whatever we have. So if you've got anything, kind of let me know so that I can give them an idea, because if it's just Lori and I or somebody like that, I'll go deliver it to them rather than having them take out time on their day. So
Was that textile?
textile.
Okay,
yeah.
so I can't bring a refrigerator for you guys to.
I thought it was one, like, Interact had where you just turn in, the old, clothing and stuff like that, and they send it off to a recycler who will take the thread and rebrand it. But no, this is really a textile drive for new or light goods all over. She did say, yeah, Value Village isn't gonna turn anything down if they get something, they'll probably just blow away if they don't like it. So,
Yeah.
So that village keeps also little household items, but are they not doing that on this drive?
they didn't say household, it just said textiles, and they talked about purses and clothing and shoes and stuff like that. So, but, you know, it's a drive and Value Village is taking it, so. Anyway, my report.
All right, thank you. Looks like my report's next, which will probably focus on corks and kegs. Steve, by chance, did anybody talk to you about doing I guess what we call it, a discussion of your past? That was one of the things we call them, what do we call it? Classification talks.
What do you call it?
Classification talks. So nobody talked to you about that. So that was one of the possibilities for our speakers today, was to put some.
Actually, that's what I do is I'm a public speaker, so I do both. I'm fine with that.
Would you like to do one today? Because we can, because where I'm going with this is the other half of the half hour afterwards we can spend on corks and kegs. So if you wanted to do that, that'd be great. 10 minutes, discussion about your background and that type of thing. Perfect. So I'll hold my report until a little bit later. So let's move on. Jim, club services.
Club service, we're out of filters, they actually have coffee, they're vaccinated, so, other than that, our full stuck, so we're using.
We're broke
State,
today.
yeah, everything else is great.
The energy was.
Good old state of Washington.
I like
Yeah,
it.
it goes.
It's dense.
Dancing up a storm there. Somebody probably closed or opened the door or something someplace. Okay, Brian is not here. So anybody got any information on anything new with community services? We have any events planned? Well, actually, we do have. Tuesday night will be the next meeting, and it'll be at Brian's office starting this month. And then we also, as reported before, we have the second meeting will be at the Lunding Park, and that'll be kind of the cleanup side of the project there.
Yeah, we'll get the details on that figured out, and then we're gonna clean up it in the next month, we're gonna try to do some tree planting in October.
Yeah. Good. Timing worked out really good for that. Jim Foundation, all good?
It's good, but somewhere there was a little mix up with the golf fund. I never got the letter about doing the thing, even though I knew it was coming. We need to make our payments to the Rotary International. We are usually on the list that says we're responsible. We've always done it over the years, but we missed the list. But it'll be in the Peace Arts Journal that we did, so I'm notified. We'll make that happen.
Good. All right. Linda is not here, but she sent around to a few folks something about a November trip to Rio Amarillo. Anybody know anything about that? So I think Chris forwarded it to me, but he's not able to go, but maybe we'll wait for Linda to maybe provide a little bit more information on that. But it sounded as if they're looking or wondering if any one of us wants to go down there in November. So it might be kind of interesting. All right, Kyle is not here for membership. I thought I saw Kristen up here at one point, but, not at the moment. So vocational is. Oh,
Sorry. Got called to the principal's office.
yeah.
Oh, superintendent's office.
Lance, anything on scholarship? It's kind of a nice time of the year for the scholarship committee to not have anything going on with that, so.
Just same story for writing all the checks, and I've not heard from one student, so that's.
Maybe, just maybe they'll all go through, okay?
Right.
Okay. And the IT system seems to be working. Chris Martin is not here right now on that one. Where's everybody today?
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, they're a little warm up for that maybe, yeah. Okay.
Started school today.
All right. Gary, anything on club communications?
No, but I did send out an email, on the, for corpse cakes and, coins, that everyone, reminding everybody, that it's time to start getting baskets ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try, Lori and I talked yesterday, and we're gonna try and get some snapshots of baskets we've had in the past, so that the new members kind of get an idea of what kind of baskets we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably got some photos someplace, but, I'm gonna start sending those communications out, once a week. So if you have anything that you want me to put in it, just let me know.
Absolutely.
You can pull those up and get your website.
Okay, yeah, forgot about
That's
that.
where I was talking, what would we?
About the baskets.
What are we pulling off the?
Well,
Pictures.
people's
Photos.
pictures of samples of things we've done in the past.
Like the doggy basket you gave one year,
The bazooka.
and the bazooka.
So it sounds like Linda's, Gary, you're helping out on the auction item side with photography and likes of that. And Linda said she's willing to help as well.
Yeah, I think she's gonna do data entry.
Okay, excellent. So then it's you and Brian, and, you know, I think we've got a pretty full house for that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, is this appropriate time to talk about our auction items, or you?
Sure.
Okay, so in the past, ooh, boy, somebody didn't have some kind of talk. In the past, we've done a, gift card basket. Do we want to do that again this year? Does anybody feel inspired to buy gift cards and put together a gift card basket?
It's easy to do. Yeah, it's a good idea. That's an auction item, right? A live
Yep.
auction item, yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
Do we know how it sold last year?
I don't. I haven't been able to get into last year's records. I worked with them on that, so I can see how well different ones went.
Okay.
The other thing is, I passed this around, last week. I'm gonna pass it around again. Everybody who's here. I know, that's small, but I've used everything for a while. I put a few new ideas on there. So, you know, we've got a couple new names written down, but, and if you come up with an idea, you think, you know what would be great? I can't do it, but what would be great is if somebody did an X, Y, Z basket. So if you got an idea, put it down and we'll see if we can make it
I've been
happen.
on the next place basket.
Really? You want X, Y, Z? A xylophone, a yellow jacket, and a zebra,
And, something to examine your zipper.
and a zipper.
By the way, I wanted to say thanks for wearing the official shirt.
The official shirt.
And Gary's, I see
available
Gary's
at
got his on too.
For $10.
$10.99.
Oh, I'm sorry. Plus tax.
And they got plenty supplies as of last night at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
I couldn't find my suspenders, otherwise I would have worn suspenders.
Yeah, I tried to.
I picked mine up. They're good quality, you know.
The shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty soft.
Yeah. Yeah, so that could come in handy. For sure.
Well, one of the things, that we're also gonna be doing is the fund cause,
For the food bank.
for the food bank. And, Lori's working on, the, application, and you've sent it in.
Yeah, I accidentally hit submit. The application for the district grant, we're asking for $10,000 from the district, for district grant. We're looking at 15 from our general fund, 10 from the endowment fund, and I budgeted 10 for, the fund cause, and then 10 from, the grant, so I was coming up with 45,000 to spend on the teaching kitchen. So appliances, cabinetry, sink, faucet, chairs, tables, I don't know what else we need. But, that's where we are on right now.
Wow.
We talked about too, kind of maybe, like auctioning off, like a donation, like if somebody wanted to contribute, let's say $2,500 or $1,000 or $500, and the idea was you're gonna have something made with the, you know, the teaching kitchen, we need to have the Rotary, like Stevens, and then maybe, donations made by not category, by how much you donated, but alphabetically. So if somebody gave $100, doesn't feel like they got outdone by somebody did $2,500. It's just all, get your name recognition. That's something we wanted to kind of maybe talk further about throwing into that auction process. See if we can raise some extra money on that backside too.
Okay.
The other thing I was gonna say with these baskets is that you don't have to put it together yourself. What you could do is go knock on some doors. Like one of the places I suggested on there, nobody's jumped up and said, I'll do that, is there's a place in Arlington, it's an axe throwing place. Yeah, and I thought, that, we do axe throwing in our yard. But if somebody wanted to call and contact some of these businesses and say, hey, would you, pay for 2 people to come and do this?
Oh,
So if you're good at doing that, I'm not very good at calling and knocking on
We've
doors.
had whale watching in the past, a long time ago.
oh, you can.
You get that?
But no, I'm going, somebody just told me that their relative runs whale watching, so I gotta think of who that is.
Hey, Tracy?
Tasting parties again.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey, Tracy? You there?
Yeah, repeat pointing.
I'm here. Sorry.
Do you have anything for us on, it looks like application requests, community funding?
I'm really sorry. I have not been very attentive, and I'm sorry I'm not showing the screen, but I don't have that finished yet. I was wondering, I don't know how to put it online or anything. So once we get it finalized, would Kyle maybe be able to help with that?
We can get it on.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. I will work on that today. So, and I apologize, I have to leave early today. I've got another meeting to go to, which is also why I'm not there.
All right. So it sounds like you're hearing okay. Everybody's hearing us now.
Yeah, that's called user error.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we do our little Sergeant at Arms thing with the
Well, since I called a little bit. All right, let's do the drawing first.
Okay. Hopefully not my own. I reached you, Chief.
514.
Boom, 514 right here.
All right.
Right.
Wow.
Not Ducky's
He
left
goes to
in
the
there.
principal's office and must have been good news.
It's always good.
Right.
Womp womp. I know where that's going.
You gotta take the $1 off a pint of beer at the brewery.
Oh, man.
All right, let's, do some fines. Start with fines first. Let's see, I'll do the pens and badges. So, in the fire service, there's a little tradition that we have, and it has to do with the challenge coin. So if someone throws a challenge coin on the table, anybody that doesn't have one has to either buy a drink.
Oh,
So I threw my Rotary challenge coin on the table. So let's see if anybody can match it.
Oh.
There, he doesn't have to pay. All right, everybody else owes $1.
What are you supposed to do? Throw it behind you? On $1.
Well,
how much does a challenge coin cost?
Couple bucks.
It might be a good investment.
Yeah.
Lauren, was that be a good investment? Especially if we do this every week, it would.
I was gonna say, I was looking.
The real thing is if everybody throws one down and you threw it down first,
And you have
you have to buy everybody drinks.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, oops, sorry, Joyce. Over here. Oh, I knocked you in the head.
Good morning.
Oh,
Not enough, I have to collect it.
all right. I think last time I did this, I did a little Rotary trivia. Let's see what I can find here. Oh, my gosh, so stick with me here. So, the first Rotary Club was in Chicago. What is the farthest distance a Rotary pen has been displayed from the first club in Chicago?
What, the location?
Distance.
Madagascar?
International
Space. 7,000 miles.
Getting close.
Australia?
So, Buzz Aldrin, who was a
Oh.
an honorary Rotarian,
You got it.
posted out, displayed on the moon when he flew in Apollo 11. So he couldn't go further.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
most of
close.
this is talk about. Not most of it. What's the most of this is talk about?
And of course, the pins,
Still
separate
circulating.
spacesuit, and then, he slid on the down on the table. Nothing but
Okay, I'm not gonna knock you in the head this time. What's that? The trivia question, but
Maybe one of you, hang on. I'm
yeah, hang on.
This is my only dollar. Can I wait and be
Yeah.
happy? Okay.
Oh, you got it right. Okay, that's enough. That was enough trivia. So let's do happy bucks.
All right, let me have 5 hopeful bucks. My dad's not very well. He's diagnosed with bladder cancer and just went through a series of treatments and yesterday the doctor like the tumor is actually grown. So he's at the point where he doesn't want to do anything for us. But they haven't really been on much.
Where does he live?
Pendleton, Oregon.
Well, this is always Friday, but I want to ask Rotary if they would consider doing, maybe polls again this year for the food bank's empty poll event in November. I think last year, Rochelle put something together down in kind of the system, home-ish, 8 or 9 of us showed up, made polls, drank and ate, so hopefully Rotary will consider doing that again. And, my puppy's killing me softly. It's all over teeth, it's good stuff, but that's, I'm happy that she's part of it.
She's training you, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have a big solid gate from your house, so.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have a big solid gate in front of my house. After that,
I'm happy Puyallup Fair is opening today. We're heading down tomorrow, late Shelton tickets, so I'm excited about that.
I'm happy for several things. One, it's college football weekend. My brother, who retired as a coach at Ohio, was hired as the defensive quality control coach for Boise State University. So he's he puts his feet up a lot in his office and watches film and tells the defense coordinator what to do. And, but they open their season at Corvallis against Oregon State. Should be a pretty good game. And so that's for my brother who has had some poor health issues recently. But to help him out, I hired his daughter as a speech and language pathologist right out of college. So get her on a paying basis. Also, that's a happy dollar for my son, who I dropped off at WSU last weekend. I slowed the car down to 25 in order for him to get out. And brought it on going.
That took you what, 30 seconds to get through Pullman?
Oh, yeah.
25?
Well, you should have had a test. Okay, in case you haven't heard, 20% of the cars registered in the state of Washington are electric.
No.
20%. So
No.
I don't know.
That
where
must include
came
hybrids.
from, but,
That must,
What's the percentage of Teslas in that 20%?
well, probably 90%. Well, it's a great automobile, so if you're thinking about a new car, definitely plan on an electric, because that's the way of the future.
Did Elon Musk hire you?
He taught Elon there.
So I'm happy Linda's knee surgery turned out really good. Soon as she woke up after surgery, they had her walking with her brand new knee. It was just, and then 2 hours later, I'm picking her up and taking her home.
why, she couldn't walk anymore? They
I
had to
need an
pick her
ice
up.
machine though.
You need a nice.
Yeah, I need-
Oh.
We have knees.
Had a great time last weekend with Ron and everybody else, Chris, and everybody that played at golf. It was a great time. Not particularly great golfing on some of us parts, but on some others.
Have Bugs feedback, but I'm taking off today for work, that's 10 months. I'm sure everyone's coming back.
Taking a little Livingston, I saw you in a trailer.
All right,
Yeah,
a tender.
yeah. Later.
Okay, well, as we mentioned, Dad's birthday is this coming weekend. We're gonna have a barbecue for him. And, my sister and her boyfriend are gonna be in town tonight, so we're gonna party like it's 97 years.
1999.
Next time bears on the wall, is that what it's gonna be called?
Yeah.
We'll just wait for 3 more years. What's it gonna
Well, then we're gonna have a party.
You have enough gin for tonight?
Well, what I do, yeah, Carrie's bringing me some California jam.
Okay, here's a few happy bugs. So nice to be here and see all of you. It's been a little while. It's been a couple busy weeks getting the store ready, but we opened this week on Wednesday. We had a little pre-opening visit from Lauren and Lori while we were getting ready. So that was fun to see them pop in. And then Gary and Bev and Georgia and Jerry came
Nice.
yesterday, which was really nice.
Nice store.
So, yeah, and Larry and Linda came to one of our pre-events too. So anyway, lot
Larry
of
just
fun.
couldn't remember the date.
What was that?
Yeah,
He couldn't remember the date.
Oh, yeah, well, they came to one of the events
I have
last
on my
weekend.
calendar for Saturday.
Yeah,
Was that wrong?
no, we had Saturday and Sunday.
Oh,
We
okay.
did Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then we did our soft opening on Wednesday, and our grand opening will be September 10th. I don't like to do things complicated.
The
But
store
you
is
can,
really awesome.
If you want to add this to your little duck draw thing, there's a free little sample in there.
Okay.
I am happy that it is almost up.
Almost fall.
I am tired of the hot weather.
Yeah. Little ring, please.
Well, I got a few happy bucks here, and by the way, here's my fines.
Okay, I never came up, but
You never,
that's a fine for me.
yeah, there you go. Anyhow, thank you again, Lauren, for your generous donation. I'm really happy about that. And also, we had a lot of entertaining over the last couple of weeks, which was wonderful, but I'm really happy that I had a day on Tuesday to sneak out of the house early in the morning and catch the ferry to Lopez with my kayak. And I spent the whole day mostly kayaking along the south shore off of Juan de Fuca Strait. And only saw one other set of kayaks go the other way the whole time. But it was perfect weather. You got to time it and be ready to jump when the tides and the winds, you know, and then obviously the weather itself participates. But it's lovely up there.
Yeah, beautiful, probably beautiful day. And,
Oh, yeah.
Jack, very happy.
Mine's like Lance, hopeful bucks. I'm going to visit my dad, this coming Thursday down in Eugene. He stayed there for a couple weeks. He's also, well, he just recently put him in a home, so his memory's starting to go. So we'll see what happens, but yeah.
Do we have anybody on Zoom with any happy news?
Oh, yeah, we got some Zoomers. Gosh,
I do.
Great to see.
Yep, I do. Happy 10 bucks. I'll Venmo it in. I also get to go to the Blake Shelton concert tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to that, hanging with Nancy Johnson. And just really had a nice week off, visited some family, and now I'm trying to get everything back in order at home. So have a great weekend, everybody.
Good. John or Scott?
Hey, I've got one. I'm going to spend this holiday weekend with my 3 grandkids off and on before they are fully engaged back in school. So there's $3 for that, and then I'm going to throw $6 in, just hoping that the Mariners will get as close as they can to a 600 year. So count me in for, let's call it not $10 just to be even.
All right, thanks. Scott?
Yeah, he just disappeared.
Disappeared.
So.
All right, he's happy.
He's happy.
All right, I got 5. It's Friday. More long weekend. I'm gonna head away from home. And
Scott's trying to talk.
to the reverse of Joyce, I do not want to see the hot water.
I think your mic is turned off there, Scott.
The mic is turned on.
You're not muted, but there's no sound. Can you do like sign language?
$5.
$5. He's happy, $5. We got it.
$50.
Sounds like.
I think you said 5,000.
$5,000.
Is Scott correct us if we're wrong?
All right, well, Steve, would you like to do your official
What am I
question?
talking about? Or am I just doing a stand-up routine?
Your stand-up routine
About yourself.
about yourself and just
Yourself,
your background.
What you do, Here.
Hey, voting.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm the new guy, Steve Alexander. And I guess a lot of times people ask, you know, kind of how I got into, what I'm doing, my background. Just as so kind of, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but the company I work for is called Smart Cremation. So give you a little hint. But, if you've ever been on the side of a road, and your car's broken down, at that point you realize that there's 2 kinds of people, right? People who have roadside assistance and people who wish they had roadside assistance. And the same thing is true with a death. When there's a death, 2 kinds of people. People who have prearrangements where they call an 800 number and everything's taken care of, or the kind of people that I used to be, where when there's a death, all of a sudden you're calling, funeral homes at 3 o'clock in the morning and you have no idea, what's going to happen. It's scary, it's expensive, and it's stressful. I have not always been a funeral director. It's not like I grew up, it's like one day I want to be, working for a cremation company. So kind of how I got into this, 9 years ago, my mother-in-law passed away, And luckily, you know, this is what they refer to as an anticipated death. We were all in the hospital. We all got to say goodbye. And my mother-in-law had 4 daughters, and their daughters had 4 husbands. So the 8 of us are in the, you know, in the hospital. We all got our opportunity to say goodbye. And then the nurse came out and said, you know, just have to inform you, you know, your mother is gone, your mother-in-law is gone. We'll give you about an hour to say goodbye. In the meantime, who do you want us to call? And we're looking around, but no, we're all here. Yeah, we're good. The nurse was like, no, a funeral home. If she can't stay here, is she, you know, is she being cremated? Is she being buried? And the fighting just erupted. You know, she wanted cremation. No, she wanted burial. Well, who's paying for that? I don't have that kind of money. The husband is not being stupid. We just left. we're gonna let the sisters fight it out. 20 minutes later, you know, my wife pokes her head out and said, okay, Steve, you know, we've decided on cremation. Can you start calling funeral homes? I didn't know any better. So, sure. So the nurse handed me the yellow pages. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sitting in the hospital calling funeral homes. First one that answered, I asked, how much is cremation? They said $1,200. Perfect. Come on out, pick her up. Sounds great. You know, we didn't know, you know, what she wanted. We had no clue because she had never even discussed it. So we figured, you know, there's 4 couples, it'll be $300 each. So then, you know, when they came, they picked her up. They're, you know, very nice about it. They did say, you know, in a couple days, we'll need all of you to, you know, come into the, or somebody to come into the office, you know, fill out some paperwork, write us a check, and but that's fine. And so, you know, 2 days later, we go into the funeral home, and they slid an invoice across, $3,976. My jaw hit the table. I thought there was going to be 2 deaths that day. Of course, all my, you know, my in-laws, my wife's looking at me going, well, what happened? You said it was going to be $1,200. I said the same thing to the funeral director. I said, you told me it was, you know, $1,200. And he said, well, yeah, when you called, you asked how much cremation was. You didn't ask about transportation of the body, refrigeration, the urn. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So like I said, it's been almost 9 years. 2 of the sisters still don't speak to each other because it got so ugly. One still owes me money because I told her her share was going to be $300. And she's like, well, you should have asked her that question, Steve. And I think the worst part is that my wife to this day says she'll never forgive her mom for being so selfish. And I never thought of it as being selfish, but the fact is her mother had never discussed, you know, what she wanted. And does anyone know what the death rate in the United States is? 100%. 100%, exactly. Very good. I wish I had a prize, but yeah, exactly. So we might as well talk about it. And you know, and there are 2 kinds of people: those who don't want to talk about it, and those who do. And it's fascinating the people I meet. I mean, I've met people in hospice who's like, I should have done this years ago. This week, I met a 32-year-old couple who they made prearrangements for themselves and their 9 and 11-year-old. You know, sons, by far the youngest, you know, I've ever, you know, spoken to. But they realized that, you know, we never know when it's going to happen. I mean, we all hope it happens when we're, you know, 105, you know, we're healthy and we die in our sleep. But the reality is, I could, you know, be hit by a car tomorrow, or I could die in the parking lot. We never know. And so, one thing that people don't realize, and I don't know how much time, 5 more minutes.
You gotta fit a little bit of stuff about your family and
Sure.
your.
So, absolutely. So, yeah. So, and so, let me just stop talking about that. I start talking about work and people start asking me questions. So I'm originally from Washington, D.C. And I was actually part of the Rotary there, God, about 30 years ago. So I'm actually now divorced. I have 5, you know, wonderful children, 21 to 31. So, which is actually where the gray hair comes from. I always tell people, you know, if you look at pictures of me before I had kids, no gray hair. And so obviously that's where it comes from. And actually we moved out here in 2004. And what's funny is we came out here in May of 2004 just to kind of see if we were going to like it. We rented a place, and I don't know if you remember the summer of 2004, but that was when Gregoire was on the news every day. Governor Gregoire saying, talking about the drought. And we're here, we're sitting there thinking, God, these Washingtonians are brilliant. They tell everyone how much rain, how much it rains here, but we hadn't seen rain for like 5 months. And so we actually ended up buying a house in September. So we were there, from May through September we were renting, and then September, yeah, and then we actually got an eye-opening experience. What was that? Yeah, that's how you get us, right? No one visits in October and decides to stay. Right? And
Lewis and Clark didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're out by March.
Actually, I just went to the Lewis and Clark. I don't know if you've been down to Astoria area, and they have the Lewis and Clark Museum and everything. It's fascinating. It's great.
Their clothes rotted on their bodies. That made them want to go back.
There you go. And so, I mean, I'm relatively, new here to Lake Stevens. I actually lived in Granite Falls for 14 years. And then I've moved around quite a bit, since I actually briefly spent a little time in Iowa. And when I say briefly, I was there for about 3 months and said, heck no, I'm coming back to Washington. And I don't know what else there is to say about me. I mean, really, because like I said, I talk about work so much, I don't necessarily talk about me. So spare time, what's spare time? I love remodeling houses. It's something where, so just a little history of, for example, my house in Granite Falls. I was absolutely insane. It's a 6,300 square foot house. And it was a complete shell when we bought it. Literally no walls, no electricity, no plumbing. The kitchen, there was actually no floor to the kitchen. There were beams and you could look down and see the basement. But it was on the lake. It was beautiful. And so I always say, I bought the view and got the house for free and remodeled the entire thing myself. I don't do roofs, but I did everything else. I did the electrical, I did the plumbing, I did the drywall, and loved every minute of it. I would actually love to be, I've talked about, maybe just, once I retire, get into the flipping business. But I do drywall, and I hate it so much, I'm really good at it. Because if you've ever done drywall, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just like, I'm never doing this again, so I got to make it perfect the first time. And so that's kind of one of my passions. But now I bought a house that doesn't need any work, and so I'm kind of bored. So if any of you have any projects that you want me to do,
You better be careful there.
Yeah, it's kind of like you never want to admit that you own a truck, because then you're going to be moving everybody, right? Yeah. If you have questions about me, I'm an open book. So that's all I got. So thank you.
Thank you. Move this. This is a HVAC thing, by the way. When you see a lot of air moving like this, it's actually a good thing. It's called economizer cycle. And roof-mounted air conditioning units, if it's cool enough outside, they will actually take 100% of the air from outside and move it through the building. So anytime you have an open door like we have here, that's a natural path for the air to go. So, whereas wintertime and hot summertime, it just recirculates most of the air. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. Engineering 101 is that one of our new segments?
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about quirks and kegs. There's a number of teams that are working on things, so I think things are going pretty smoothly. But I'm going to exit full screen for this, and I'm going to pull up a picture of quirks and kegs. Let's do that one. And I'm going to share this.
Maybe I'm behind on conversations, but where did the lumberjack come from?
We had a theme discussion at the main meeting, and that's what we ended up with.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I know we've done Vikings a lot, but
Sam and Mariah are doing the decorations, and they wanted to do, they came up with one. I think that's where it came from.
Yeah.
It's tied to their interest, and so we threw it on them.
All right. Yep, they both volunteered.
Am I understanding that we're all supposed to wear, lumberjack clothes for this?
no, that's not necessarily an expectation, but if you want to, you can. And it would actually be kind of cool if the folks that are on active duty, maybe did that, but I don't know. It's just kind of an idea. Maybe the folks that are checking in, checking out, and possibly, our folks that are at the bar and that type of thing. This is a plan that some of you folks have seen that we've been working the details out on. And a couple things have come up, but how many have not seen this? Okay, so we'll do a quick run through of this. This is, of course, the mill. The front doors are at the bottom, so you enter. And as you know, the area to the right is the big high ceiling area with a loft up above. The area to the left is this where the city council, I guess, meets, but it's a large conference room. And then there's a little bit of a foyer outside there. So we are planning to have the silent auction in that large conference area. And so there'll just be a whole bunch of tables there set up. And we've got it set up so that we could have, like 50 or so baskets set, about 3 per table. And we can add tables if we needed to. But this leaves a lot of area for people to mull around, which is pretty typical in silent auction type things. And you kind of want that too, because that keeps people in the room and, it becomes a little bit more of a social thing. Then outside in the foyer area will be kind of the bar waiting area, and the red tables there will be just bar tables set up. We've got a great team with Connor and Amy and Tracy working on the alcohol service, and they're already talking to wineries and the likes of that. We can have wineries do some presentation if they want. There's all those possibilities, or even have a beer table, a wine table, or whatever table, but they'll be kind of pursuing that plan in a little bit more detail. Going to the doors to the right is a spot to have checkout, check-in, or check-in, check-out, where, it's a clear sight of the front door when you walk in. Then up above that area, the blue tables will be kind of a food service area. We're planning on having heavy appetizers for dinner, so they'll carry around plates. And then we'll have rented high tables kind of scattered around wherever it makes sense. Those are little purple round things. Will be areas where you could like set your little order plate or your drink and whatever. And there's a little logistics thing here, and Jim, I think we need to maybe talk with a caterer here pretty soon and make sure that they can work with this, but the caterers typically need an area to like set up. They need to have, they can't bring all the food in at once. They kind of need to keep refreshing the serving table. So the idea I had is to give them the long counter with a sink in the conference room, where they could have a path up through the doors, through that hallway, and then back down to the food service area without having to carry their food through people standing in line, checking in or checking out and that type of thing. So then the round tables, we've talked about that from the standpoint of having tables that are available to purchase. We haven't gone into any more detail about that, but I think we should. What is our plan there? Do we want to give these tables away to our larger sponsors? Which is a possibility. And if we did that, we could give away the two larger green tables in the front to our two major sponsors. That would be a kind of no-brainer with 8 chairs per table.
Just thoughts in fundraising events, usually your ticket price, what you try to do is you get your ticket price to pay for the food and venue, just as a general rule. And while I totally understand giving the front tables to the sponsor, you can also auction those off as a VIP table, which usually does pretty well at nonprofit auctions. Now, we could give them, because we didn't auction anything like that off prior, right? So we could give them to the large sponsors this year and decorate them up really nice as VIP tables, and then offer people to bid on the VIP table next year. A lot of times what people will do is give them a special dessert or wine on the table and fancy plates to say this is the VIP experience, so that they can see it during the event. And then they're more likely to bid. And I've seen those things go up into thousands of dollars before with people buying that way. So just something to consider.
We sold ours for $750 for food bank. 8 tables. Upstairs is our VIP section. So kind of cordoned off, so they kind of got the little service up there, wine and some appetizers, a little different appetizer menu up there, and it's I think it's 6 per table and sold all.
Okay.
Yeah, to generate some additional revenue.
That's a good thought.
Yeah, I like that idea. We're doing it this year.
So we donate or just give it this year because we can't auction this year.
But make it nice and allow the sponsors to use it. I mean, I'm talking to the sponsors right now about who is, how many people they're sending and who they're sending and whatever, because they have so many tickets available for each sponsor. And I'm working on those details right now. But we could come up with, fill those 2 tables this year and then auction off next year. I think that's a great idea.
Yep. So the count wise, I forget the levels. We, the $5,000 level, we had 2. And then the next one down, I think we had 5. Either 5 or 6.
Right. Well, there's a couple that I did it at 2,500. There's a, that went higher than the base level, 1,000.
Okay.
So we do have it. So if they have people, we can work I can work out the details of trying to fill those tables for you.
Okay, but I guess the question is, do we want to give tables to those sponsors?
I would recommend it because if they're willing to get $5,000 sponsorship towards the event.
Well, these would be less than 5,000.
So we'll just go from top to bottom with the sponsors and fill the tables with those people.
So we'll give them all, maybe not the $500 level, but the 1,000 and above.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be able to fill them up with that.
Yeah. Okay. Now, there's one other issue that, who was it that brought up? Was in this room? The acoustics in the room are a little bad.
Yeah.
A little challenging, and having the speakers and the auctioneer and where the speakers would be on that end of the room, I can see with that big loft upstairs on the back, how that could be an issue. Whatever sound is projected, by the time it goes to the far end and reflects back, it's going to create a sound canceling effect.
I'm not sure about that. We did this event there, not last year, but the year before. I think we did it 2 years in a row, or maybe just 1 year. But remember, Ken, you and Kevin were up there running around. We had several people in the room, and it sounded fine. I didn't Do we?
We didn't have hardly any people. There was only about 5, 6, or 7 of us.
Yeah, there weren't very many people, but I've given talks in that room, and as long as you have a microphone, I think it's okay, but once you get a whole bunch of people talking, then it's really difficult to hear. So,
There is mics.
Yeah.
Mics are wired.
If you have a microphone, it'll be okay.
Mics are wired for the whole area, so you can have it at the far back room.
Does Zagco, but it's because it's a concrete floor and bare walls, basically.
Right.
Actually, bodies help.
Ceiling.
Yeah.
The more bodies, the better, because any soft surface absorbs sound.
Right.
How many people usually attend this?
We're figuring 150 to 200, actually. There's 120 chairs, but we're assuming that, particularly during the live auction, that a lot of the people will be
People are
standing.
walking around.
There's always people standing.
Yeah, you're walking around going to get wine and
Yeah.
going to bid, stuff like that.
It's the outside, the purple one's from the outside.
Those are just drink tables, high drink tables.
Hanging out.
And I know that when we did our permit with the city for the food bank, that they said it's a separate permit or a separate filing process.
Right.
Outside.
The state, the state has agreed with me that since we can fence that whole thing off from the outside, that we can have adults only out there.
Yeah, I think you just need to write in your permit though, that you have that, you're taking that.
We do, yeah, it's written. Yeah, I've had a few discussions with them. about that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think the state feels it's good, the way we've got it, and we can actually have minors inside, they can't consume. I don't know how many,
No,
yeah, I mean,
they're gonna mess with it.
well,
I also got my,
put it this way, you don't have to say no minors, other than no minors on the outside.
and I've got my liquor pour license too, so if you need help in that regard, I can bring it posted.
Okay, well, and actually, maybe you could even do any coaching you think is necessary, just to, everybody that is doing for it.
I'll look at my permit. I think it might have expired.
That's a masked permit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not required to be a pourer, but it's highly recommended, so I think it is a good idea to have you bring it, and have it there. And the state says they actually are doing a lot more inspections, so they're visiting these a little bit more frequently now, so it's something to keep in mind.
So this looks like a floor plan of the lower level. What are your plans for the lot?
Just chairs. We're not going to try to have any organized activity up there, but we could easily have several of the chairs kind of around the railing, we can look down. Our auctioneer really wants to try to keep people in
Proximity to the eye.
he's the kind of guy that'll walk around, she likes to get in your face. It sounds like, I kind of feel like we're unleashing something on our precious folks, but it sounds like he's actually pretty good. We do need some
We
strength.
got it at the Education Association.
Paul, what's his name? Paul,
I can't think of it right now.
Paul Rogers. Yeah. So, a couple things that we need to do is figure out screens. If they're projection screens, it's going to be really awkward. I mean, I showed a couple locations in the corners on the right-hand side there. Obviously, there's no place to put a projector. Couple other options. There's a backlit screen and open the roll-up door behind where the auctioneer is and just have a projector outside in reverse mode. But I think we're going to have to figure that one out. And it could be that we'll just have to somebody suggested trying to get some TVs from Costco, big screen TVs borrowed from Costco. I can't imagine they could do that, but they get returns all the time. So maybe they can. I don't know. But,
Unless anybody wants to buy an 85-inch TV and give it to us for a weekend.
You know, if nothing else, I think we could always rearrange tables and just have one screen, you know, and just make a place of the projector. And so be it. You know, probably put one screen right in the middle and you know, we can always do that. So, Jim, did you say you have a screen, a portable screen? We could either do that or just try to have a stretch fabric type situation. I'm sure we can make work. So, any thoughts? I know there's a lot of details, but it's also 8:35, so. I haven't heard anybody that doesn't like the plan now.
No, it's just a matter of getting people to sign up. We did send an email out. I'll send that. One of the friends of Rotary too.
Yeah.
And then we'll start continue once a week emails to everybody, so they know what's going on, and get that rolling. So.
Yeah.
Can people buy tickets yet?
Yeah, it's
live.
Right. People are buying tickets. Okay. So, and if anyone knows, I mean, if every person in the club invites someone they know to the thing, we'll get it handled. I mean, that's all it takes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's it. We'll fill it up in a hurry.
I'll get that link to Greater Giving from you so that we can get that broadcast out.
Well, yeah, I'll just send it to you, Joanna, for that, what the thing that you want to publish.
Yeah.
Or I'll just do it.
You know, I've got one more thought for the live auction, just visualizing how this might work. You're thinking about doing the live auction in the room with big tables, right?
Right.
And if you're gonna fill those up with sponsors, you're gonna probably have people up in the loft during the live auction. So some kind of logistics around how people up there can also bid and be seen. Think about that, maybe bring it up with the auctioneer.
Yeah, and you can have their spotters.
Yeah.
In the area
Yeah.
Because you get, I mean, I've been in the space, you get 200 people and those tables set up, you're not gonna have room for bodies.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've kind of gone back and forth. We started out without the far left row of 4 tables and regular seats.
Right.
But that wasn't liked very much, but primarily by Chris. And I can understand that, you know, the tables are a lot, and the seating, having chairs seemed a little bit odd to me too. You know, like what are you supposed to just file in and sit in a chair, you know? So, but the auctioneer really wants to have, you know, have tables. And he seems to feel like your larger sponsors may also be the ones that would be bidding highest too. And he likes to have those up front.
Okay. And does the venue provide the tables or are we renting?
No, they provide the tables except for the cocktail tables.
Yeah, are we getting those from the same place, Jim?
Yeah.
You gotta preserve.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to Don, because we gotta reserve the glasses and all that stuff.
And I've helped with that in the past. I'm willing to do that again, pick up, drop off reservations. So let me know.
Oh, great. Great.
Can you remind me, when's the deadline for the baskets? What goes in?
What did we come up with 2 weeks before?
Oh, that's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, that's mid-September, yeah, it's a couple weeks from now.
Yes, so we have time to do the entry, and the pictures, and that's it.
Anyway, I think we all, you know, I think we all have kind of gone through so many times before that it's, you just, at some point you just say, okay, it's tomorrow. And tomorrow, you could say that in mid-September, or you could say that in late September, or just say, no, say that, it's tomorrow. Okay, I'll go do it.
Are we doing the silent auction? Are we opening that up early?
Yes.
Or when is it open?
It'll be open as soon as we open the doors. So we haven't talked about that as
No,
a
I
firm.
mean, are we doing it like a week ahead of?
Oh,
time?
yes.
Yes, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're gonna do virtual bidding and bidding live.
But we're not gonna do any alcohol on the
Yes,
virtual.
yeah.
So we'll have more, we can have alcohol baskets, but they just will. And what I thought was we would just have like, you know how we have closes for the various tables, we'll have the final close will be the one, the alcohol ones. And so we welcome those.
Yeah,
But-
and that's an incentive for people to come in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think as far as greater giving, I see we can keep adding stuff anytime we want, right? So the sooner the better, but that will go live a week before as well.
So that helps with, we need the baskets in
2
2
weeks.
weeks.
2 weeks
Yeah.
before the event.
Lori mentioned the gift cards, so everybody should start bringing those, and everybody should have a couple gift cards laying around.
Right. But try to bring them that still have money.
Yeah.
Home Depot was $3.50. Hey, everything counts. All right. And I can send this to anybody if you just shoot me an email if you'd like this or have any more thoughts about it. Just let me know. But I think we're pretty well. Oh, I do have one question. In the satellite auction area, should we have like something going on there? I was almost thinking like YouTube has like a lot of live music. That would be, you know, we can create a playlist that's kind of like mellow rock, but live.
Yeah, we've done that in the past.
And it gives us something to look at. We have all these screens that we don't need in them. We could have 2 screens that are the bidding status and have 1 screen dedicated to like something like that with music that's low. You could hear it in the bar area, but you wouldn't be.
Yeah. We haven't done the screen, we just stream the music, but if you want to put it on the screen, you know, that's fine.
And are we gonna do a slideshow of Rotary and our sponsors?
Up front,
But we could have a screen doing that in the silent auction.
possibly.
Through.
And then just,
We're logging videos.
Logging video, yeah. I went to a lumberjack show last week.
Pictures of the mill, that used to be.
Exactly.
Do you know where you're gonna display the live auction items?
And the council chambers.
Well, I figured that we would have them as a part of the PowerPoint that's going to be going all the time. So we'll always have the front screen will be doing something.
Okay.
And your point, we could also, if we can have that as one of the things going on in the back room as well. But we'll mix in with, you know, other stuff like
Keep in
Rotary.
mind, you may have a nice handmade coffee table that would sit on top of a table.
Okay.
we'll have to have all the live stuff there to present to people, to show them what they're buying. If it's there or a sign of some sort.
Are you saying that anything you can't, that is an object that can be transported? Yeah.
Anything, yeah, that would be a video thing, it was a presentation of a place.
Well, we certainly, we have enough tables, rectangular tables. We can add another row of tables very easily.
Okay.
And maybe have 1 table that's just a live auction items that are
Yeah,
transportable.
that's what I meant.
Yeah, we'll put together.
Yeah. All right.
And thanks everybody who has been signing up. We've got quite a few items, so we're well on our way.
Good. All right. Well, we better call it.
All right.
All right.
Big meeting.
Ding.
Ding, ding. One ringing, you need 2 ringing.
I'll let Chris know he's got a fine.
Every day, it was worth it for all the.
Every minute passes.
Ron, have a good one, I hope you don't have any traffic.
Yeah, unfortunately, the wife had to go back to school, so.
I'm curious, who are the major sponsors?